Hey y'all, this is Brenda at Slapout Homestead, and today we're making chocolate cake. Okay, the first thing we're going to do to make our sourdough chocolate birthday cake is we are going to mix 241 grams of fed sourdough starter. So earlier this morning I took my sourdough out of the refrigerator and let it come up closer to room temperature, and I mixed 81 grams of starter with 80 grams of water and 80 grams of flour, and I just let it sit here for a little bit. So now we're going to mix that and put it on my scale and get it over to the grams mode. There we go. We're going to mix that with 227 grams milk, which is a cup. We're going to put our milk in there, 1 cup of milk. And I used powdered milk because I want to save my fresh milk to have it in a glass next to my cake. I'll zero that back out and add in 241 grams of flour. And this is just AP flour. So we're going to get it up to 241 grams. This is my favorite chocolate cake. Hence why I'm making it for my birthday cake. Okay, 241 grams. So we will mix that together, and then I'm going to cover it and let it rest here on the countertop for 2 to 3 hours, probably closer to 2. This makes a 9 by 13 sheet cake. Or you can split the batter up into 2 rounds if you like. I'm going to make it in the 9 by 13 because it's a little easier for the kids to eat, as far as not falling over the first time you stick your fork through it. So I'm just going to mix this until I don't see any more dry flour, which is about now. There we go. I'm just going to leave my rubber scraper in there and cover it up with, there we go. Let that sit for 2 to 3 hours. I'll come back and check on it in 2 hours and we'll see how much. It should expand a bit. It's pretty warm in here. And I will come back and show you what that looks like. There we go. Okay, so I ended up going 3 hours. I moved it into the other room where it's warmer. And this is ready to mix in. It did expand a little bit. So I brought my KitchenAid in here. Got my other ingredients here, except I didn't put the baking soda in yet because I didn't want things to start activating. I didn't know if it would or not, so I didn't take any chances. So in this bowl we have 1.5 cups of sugar, 1 cup of vegetable oil, 2 teaspoons vanilla, 1 teaspoon salt, 1.5 teaspoons baking soda, 3/4 cup cocoa, and 1 teaspoon of instant espresso. This is what I use for my espresso. There it is in English. Instant espresso coffee. So I used 1 teaspoon of that, just to give it a little boost in its flavor. So let me drag my KitchenAid over here. We'll see if I need to adjust it, and I'll show you how to do that if I need to adjust it. Oh, that smells chocolatey. Okay, it doesn't look like I need to adjust it, but I'll still show you how, just in case you have problems. Alright, let's move you out of the way. Whenever you get this new paddle, you'll have to adjust your mixer, because this has extra, because of the blade, the rubber scraper part. So what you do is, see that screw right in there? I actually marked on mine. Clockwise lowers it down, so when you get this and put it on there, you actually need to go the other direction and raise it up a little bit, otherwise it scrapes too much. And you just use a flathead screwdriver and move it over. Alright, so let's move you back in the middle. And this is beat together. And then we add in 2 eggs, one at a time. There's one. And there's 2. It still sounds like I could move that up a little bit. I think I will. So counterclockwise. And go about 1/4 of a turn. And now we mix in our sourdough mixture. Going to get a bigger rubber scraper. I don't know if this little one will actually do the job. Okay, in we go with our sourdough mixture. Alright, let's clean off our rubber scraper. And now we will beat at low speed until it's smooth. And it takes a minute, but it will work itself in there. You don't want to leave any globs of the sourdough mixture, because you will see them in your cake. We're just going to keep going on our low speed until smooth. It smells so good. Chocolatey deliciousness. Alright, I can see that the sourdough is wanting to stick to the paddle, so let's loosen that away so that we don't have any globs of flour in our cake. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but, you know, for aesthetics. Alright, let's see if that did the job. Oops. Yeah, that's better. Gosh, that's pretty. And the little rubber scraper on that paddle attachment sure makes a big difference in the texture of the cake. Alright, now we don't want to over mix it. I think we might be good. Let's see. Just want to make sure all that sourdough is mixed in. Let go, let go. I'm 29 again. Actually, that's not true. Alright, it's time to get this beautiful cake batter in our pan. There we are. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. What got me interested in sourdough is my great-nephew was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And he said that he wants to be a baker when he grows up. Bless his heart. So I thought I would learn about sourdough so that when he does try and be a baker, maybe I can help him out a little bit. Alright, that is beautiful. Now this is going to bake at 325. The recipe says 350. But I have learned that if you bake it at 325 instead, it doesn't mound up as much in the middle. So 325, and it's 30 to 40 minutes, but it'll probably take a good 40 minutes, and we test it with the toothpick. And then we let it cool completely, and I will show you how to make the icing. I make it different than what the recipe calls for, so stay tuned for that. But I will show you what our beautiful cake looks like when it comes out of the oven. See you in a little bit. Our cake is out of the oven, and it domed up a little bit. See, but not near as much as it would have. It ended up baking 50 minutes, which is no big deal. So what I'm going to do at this point, because I want it to be flatter, I'm going to go ahead and put this over the top and set this cookie sheet on top and just weigh it down. There we go. And set my skillet on top of it. That way it'll be a little flatter on the top. That's the one thing I don't like about doing a cake in a pan like this, is it domes up in the middle and you end up getting less frosting when you get to the middle pieces. and more frosting on the edges. So I'm trying to make it a little more uniform. So I'll stick my skillet up there on top of there. Let this cool completely, and then I'll come back and show you the icing. We're going to make chocolate icing. See you in a little bit. Alright, let's make our frosting. Over medium heat in my saucepan, I am melting a stick of butter. It's melted right now. I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of buttermilk. Bring it up to just to a boil. And no, I did not buy a whole carton of buttermilk just for a 1/4 cup. I used this. Love this stuff. Okay, commercial's over. Alright, so a stick of butter and a 1/4 cup of buttermilk at this point. I'm bringing this up to a boil. Just to a boil. Alright, there we are. We're at a boil. In goes the chocolate. Stir that around. And yes, this is different than the icing that's on the recipe page on the King Arthur website. King Arthur Flour website. Sorry about that. Alright, that's good. Let me swing you around. There we are. Chocolate into the bowl. Now up under the mixer. Let's bring you over there closer. There you are. At this point, our goal is just to mix. I'm going to throw in a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla because I can. Right now we're just looking for the powdered sugar to dissolve in the chocolate mixture. Oh man. My little chicken just fell off and broke. So see, we are dissolved, but it's still a little warm to beat yet. So I'm just going to let it cool a little bit, and then I'll come back and beat it. Alright, I let this cool for a little while, and now I'm going to beat it. Let me show you what I was looking for. What I wanted it to do was hold its shape. I just wanted it to cool enough to hold its shape whenever I beat it, instead of just sinking down back into a liquid state. So now I'm just going to beat this, get it a little bit more fluffy, and then we'll put it on our cake. So I will move this out of the way and bring our cake over. You can see that it's flatter on top than it was before. I know it's really difficult not to lick this off of there, but that's a little too much. So yeah, that'd be a little too much sugar right before dinner. All right. Let's get our frosting on top of our cake. Now the icing recipe that will be on the link for the cake makes twice this much, and it was just too much. It was way too sweet. I know, how can anything be too sweet? But yes, it was, and it was coffee flavored. So yeah, it wasn't my favorite. So I adjusted it. I didn't add the coffee flavor. I did add more butter along with the chocolate. Oh yes, that's lovely. So I will get this all spread around. Let's see, where was I? I added chocolate and a little more butter, because the first time I made my adjustment, all I added was chocolate to the mix that they had on the King Arthur website recipe. I just added chocolate to it, but it stiffened up too much. That's why I added 2 tablespoons of butter along with the chocolate, and that made it a more pleasing texture. It didn't harden up so much. Stayed fluffy. And then of course theirs didn't have the vanilla in it either. Now, I like vanilla with my chocolate. I think we are almost good, but see, that looks nice. Looks like a homemade chocolate cake. Not trying to be too fancy. But you really can't taste the sourdough. Can't really tell it's in there, but I know it's there. There we go. I think I'm going to call that beautiful. What do you think? Here, let me put it over in the middle so you can see it. This is the camera that cuts off the top and bottom, so I'll make sure it's right in the middle. There we go. Beautiful chocolate cake. I'm going to cut it in a little while after dinner. Put some vanilla ice cream with it, and I'll show you what it looks like when we cut into it. Our cake is ready to cut, and I wanted to give you a quick tip about making straight lines. Once you figure out where you want your cuts are going to be, put your non-dominant thumb at the bottom, and you will always cut straight toward your thumb. Always. No more wonky pieces of cake. hope that's helpful. Let me cut this into 3 by 6. And I'll pull a piece out for y'all. It's so good. And here is our cake. Grab a fork. Get a nice taste. Perfect. Now, all we need is some vanilla ice cream next to that, and we will be perfecto. Thanks for hanging out with me in my kitchen today. That cake is so good. I hope you enjoy this video. Make this cake. It's really delicious. I'll leave the link down below to the King Arthur website. And keep in mind my different spin on the frosting. It really is very, very delicious. I will see y'all in the next video. God bless you. Love y'all. Bye.